What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Philosophy, the podcast with deep talks, and dumb jokes. I'm your host, Wes Macmillan, and the topic today is healing, and what healing is and what healing is not. And I know what you're thinking, that healing has become a bit of a buzzword. Everybody seems to be on their healing journey. My aunt Debbie is on her healing journey. What the hell does she have to heal from? And you want to know the truth? I love that everyone's on their healing journey. And number two, you never really have any idea what people are going through. Sometimes someone's life looks great on paper on the outside, and on the inside they're going through hell. And studies have been done that say that most people have trauma. And at this point, maybe we're just healing from life, and maybe that's okay. And I don't really care. I'm happy it's gone mainstream, that more people are putting in an effort to resolve their emotional issues. So fuck you. And with that being said, the format today is we're going to start off by going through specific examples of what healing is and what healing is not. And most of the time, the healing is not part is just the opposite of what the healing is part, but I still think it's helpful. And the first one is healing is gentle. Healing is not rushed. I think when we decide that we want to start healing, we've been putting it off for so long that we get excited and we want to go as fast as we can. And that's not really how healing works. Healing is kind of be more about learning how to be gentle with yourself. Like I was just talking about, some people's lives look great on paper. Maybe they're successful. Maybe they're jacked. And I think a lot of the times those people are kind of letting their inner critic run the show. Everybody has an inner critic, and for the most part, it's telling them it's trying to get them to be perfect. So if someone's life looks perfect or damn near, there should be bells going off in your head. It's also like when I didn't even I don't know if I decided to start healing, but I've been making an effort for the past 2 years to work on myself. And the beginning of a healing journey, at least for men, looks like waking up early, going to the gym, and you expect everything to get better just through that. And I had to learn the hard way that it won't. That is a great start. The gym taught me a lot. The gym taught me that hard work pays off, and that if I am consistent in my efforts and things, that I will make progress. But you're not going to bench 3 wheels and be happy. Taking care of your body is important, and treating yourself with respect is important, but there's way more to the picture and the puzzle. Second one is healing is slow. This one kind of sucks. I think humans in general, similar to the gym, when we start working out, it's like, I'm going to go to the gym for 8 hours, and after a couple days, I'll probably be jacked. And man, I wish it worked like that so bad. Because in the beginning, that's when you're feeling the most motivated, and you're willing to grind for hours on end, and you want to get it done, but you can't. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is healing. It's more about consistency, which sucks. Consistency is key. It's about showing up for yourself every day. It's about kind of learning to love yourself. And so imagine if you were treating someone like shit for years, and then you go up to them and you're like, I'm so sorry for everything. Like, let's fix our relationship. And then for like 8 hours, you're like, tell me what I can do. Tell me what I can do. Tell me what I can do. That's like that energy is kind of the opposite of what we're looking for. You've been overly hard on that person, and what you need to do is learn to be gentle. And learning isn't fast. I think the more effort you put in, the more you'll get out. You get what you give, kind of thing, but you can't do it in a day. Also, if, say, you were getting bullied for like 5 years, does it really make sense that you'd be able to heal in a month? And if you went through some prolonged trauma or prolonged hurting, I'm sorry. But if you really want to get through it, it is going to take some hard work. That's later on the list. So stop getting ahead of me. um, Third one is healing is through relationships. And this one's kind of nuanced, and healing is not isolated. And a lot of people with trauma, or a lot of people in general, are more comfortable being alone. And I think there's a time for being alone. There's a lot of self care you have to do on your own. But that, again, is kind of like the first step. It's much easier, like, not to get triggered when you're alone because you have almost complete control over your environment. Although being alone is a trigger for some people, which is not funny, but maybe ironic. But like you can like spend a lot of time alone and be feeling good. Like, I've been journaling, I've been going to therapy, I've been working out, and then you spend like 2 days with your family and you're gonna want to rip your hair out. And that's why healing is done through relationships. And I think maybe part of this is communication. I think maybe bad communication is often what creates trauma because there's a misunderstanding that's been sitting in the back of your head for 5 years, and communicating and not getting fired up and insulting or name calling the other person. That's a big part of healing. And also, like, isolation is not good for mental health. I wish it was, because when I'm feeling sad, I don't want to be around anyone. I think part of the reason is I don't want to. I don't want people to see me down. I don't want people to see me sad. But I think that's also part of the journey. Mel Robbins has a book and a theory called "Let Them." So if you're sad, let them see you sad. And if they're going to be disappointed and wishing they had their fun friend around, then let them be disappointed. Because being their fun friend is not your fucking job. Your job is to survive. And if they want to be your friend, they got to be with you through thick and thin. You don't just get to be around for the highlights. That's not how it works with me. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, for sure. Fourth one is healing is not linear. Healing is a bumpy road. And this one I definitely had to learn the hard way. I was like, I started kind of working on myself my senior year of college, just like 2 years ago now. And I would be like meditating, journaling, going to therapy, and then something would happen. Like, I would go to the bar and I'd drink too much, or I'd like snap at a friend or something like that, And I'd be like, fuck this. I've been meditating, I've been journaling, I've been going to therapy, and none of it's working. But just remember, it's not linear, it's a bumpy road, and a setback is exactly that. It's a setback. It's not back to square one. even if it's a big setback. Healing is often like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, which is so frustrating. I wish so bad that it was 3 steps forward and then another 3 steps forward and then another 3 steps forward until I get where I'm going and until I'm fully healed. And that's not even on the list. So, bonus round. Healing is more of a process, a way of living, a way of learning to love yourself, a way of learning to take care of yourself. It's not like a destination. I think last week asked my therapist, I was like, when is this shit gonna be done? Like, I feel like I've been working pretty hard. And her theory, which is a shared theory in the community of therapists, is that like you can get to a place where you're doing pretty good, but say someone like you get triggered, hits one of your triggers, it's still not going to feel great. You're still going to have scars. Those things, there's no amount of healing is going to make those things not have happened. And that's kind of something you got to accept. A lot of healing is accepting really hard truths. And sometimes I think about what I'd be like if nothing bad ever happened to me. And that feels almost like heaven. But the truth is, trauma and life define you. The bad things, quote unquote, that happen to you define you. I went through what I did and I worked on myself, and this podcast is a byproduct of that. My career as a therapist is a byproduct of that. And I love those things. I love the podcast. I love that I'm trying to help people. And that wouldn't have happened without the bad things that happened to me happening. You can't take the good without the bad. Healing, what is it? What are we on, number 5? I feel like the forgetful teacher. Healing is not getting better. There's like kind of what I was getting at before, like this whole self-improvement. Some call it an epidemic. And I want to tell you that healing is not about getting better. Healing is about realizing you were always good enough. And I'm sorry someone or something made you feel like you're not. And we were talking about on the last episode, your worth does not come from how jacked you are, what job you have, what car you drive. Your worth comes from the fact that you're a human. And a fancy car and a big house doesn't make you any better. It might make your ego feel better, like look at me with my fancy car and my big house. But it doesn't. That's fragile. Because once you lose that car, you're right back to I'm worthless. And that's why I'm focused on doing the inner work, because the outer work is all bullshit. And it's not necessarily about getting better. I think it's more about being more true to yourself and sharing who you really are with the world. And that in turn will make you happier. Yeah. We touched on this a little bit before. Healing is frustrating, it's tedious, and it's a lot of fucking work. It is far from easy. As my brother would say, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And maybe that makes it a little meaningful. But that also makes it very difficult because it takes consistency, it takes hard work, it takes patience. But you know what else is frustrating, tedious, and can take a lot of work? Love, relationships. And that's where there's a lot of value in healing. Healing. But you're kind of learning about how to love yourself. And I know that sounds corny, but it's true. Learning how to be gentle with yourself. And once you do that, you are going to have a much easier time loving other people and being gentle with other people. I've been in love before when I was far from healthy. I would go as far to say unhealthy. I did not love, I hated myself probably when I was in that relationship. And that sucks. That love came. I mean, love damn near saved my life when it came, but it sucks that I don't even know if we had a shot because I don't think either of us were in a good place mentally. But that gave me motivation to be ready the next time love comes. Uh, what are we on now? Number 7. Healing is more, healing is not about forgetting or erasing what happened. It's about integrating it. And we touched on this a little bit before, but everything's connected. Give me a break. Um, yeah, like we talked about it before. I wish I could so bad go back so bad and erase what happened. But honestly, if a guardian angel said like, "I'll do it. I have this button, and if you press it, I I'll erase everything that happened." I honestly wish that would happen because I know I wouldn't press that fucking button. These scars are what made me. This pain is what made me, and I'm proud of who I am. It's taken a lot of work, and the work's not done. I don't know if the work will ever be done, but I love who I am. And my mom tells me about this Japanese art where like there's this perfect vase, and then I think they drop it. Or I don't know if they drop it or they all somehow get broken. And then they like glue it back together and there's gold in the cracks. Um and some say it's even more beautiful. And that's kind of what healing is. Like when I see someone who like really hasn't, and I don't want to get too judgmental, but say I'm talking to someone who hasn't really been through anything substantial, nothing they've had to work for or get over. I mean, that's where you figure out who you are. That's where you figure out what life's all about. That's where you figure out it was fucking hard, but I did it anyway. And that's kind of what I respect. I used to want, especially when I was feeling like broken, like um when I was feeling broken, I wanted someone who had just never been broken, that has always been perfect. And I think I wanted that because I wanted that for myself. I wanted myself to have never been broken in the first place. But life will break you, and it's up to you to put back together the pieces. And it's hard, but it's meaningful, and it'll make you a beautiful vase. um yeah, it's about integrating. Like we were saying before, like I was saying before, I'm the only one in this room. It's about integrating what happened. Say it's about like say you were getting bullied for 5 years. Um it's about realizing that was never about you. Hurt people hurt people. That bully was probably going through some things at home and he wanted to take the pain out on someone else. And say your teacher or your coach was extra hard on you. It wasn't about you. And I think we try to make things about ourselves because it's hard to accept that we're really helpless in this situation. We're thinking like, oh, maybe it's because I'm not smart or funny enough. And then you try to be more smart and funny just to kind of like give yourself something to do because it's so hard to accept that you are helpless in that situation. Um, Especially happen when it happens when you're very young. Gaber Mate, I think that's his name. He's like a trauma specialist. He says like babies are narcissists. Like say you were crying and your mom didn't come pick you up. Like that's bound to happen because parents are parents for years on end. There's got to be one time where you're like crying and they didn't come get you. And in that moment, it's easier to think like my mom didn't come get me because I'm unlovable, um, or because I'm not good enough, or because I'm too much, or because I'm crying, and try to fix that because you're a baby. You can't be like, you're a baby and you're crying and no one's coming to get you. As an adult, that seem like that's not like you can't get all, you can't get them all. But when you're a baby, it's like I need help and no one's helping me. What happens if no one comes and I can't take care of myself right now? I'm just a baby. Like that TikTok sound. But it's true. And your brain is always working on solutions. So if you can't like get up, if you can't crawl out the crib, get yourself some food cuz you're just a baby, your mind's going to be like maybe it's cuz I'm too fat. I got to lay off the formula. I got to lay off the boob milk. And it's strange, but that's how humans work. And even if like a coach was yelling at you, it's you're like, they're right. I'm not good enough. And maybe that coach is trying to make you better, or maybe they're going through some things at home. You'll never really know, which sucks. A lot of healing and a lot about being happy in life in general is about uncertainty and living and coping with uncertainty. And especially when you've had trauma, uncertainty feels like something bad's about to happen. And even joy feels like I can't trust this because something bad's coming. But once you can take care of yourself, things change. And if something bad does happen, you can deal with it. And the last one, I don't know what number we're on, but in this one I really tried to do when I was in the beginning of my healing journey. It's healing is not about getting rid of emotions. Healing is about allowing emotions to process so it doesn't feel like they're still happening. But healing is not about getting rid of emotions. When in the beginning, my goal in my healing journey was about pretty much to never be anxious or depressed again. And honestly, that was a pretty good goal. That would have been awesome, but it's not feasible, which sucks. It's another hard truth. It's about learning to live with your anxiety and depression. And when my first therapist said that to me, I almost punched him in the mouth. I was like, fuck you. You don't know what I'm capable of. Do you know where I'm from? That's the Boston in me. But that motherfucker was right, man. It's learning about that being anxious isn't the end of the world. Being anxious is normal in a lot of situations. You might be a little more anxious because of something that happened to you that you never really dealt with, that your human mind kind of got in the way. Um, but I'll go on a first date and I'll be like, why the fuck am I anxious? That's normal, bruh. That's normal, bruh. You ain't like it would be weird if you're going on a first date and you weren't nervous. Like I went on a first date this week and I was pretty much like shaking. I was hiding it. Like my hands were like this, kept them below the table. um, but that's a lot of fear that I'm still working on. Um, but like I was stuck in fight or flight for a while. And when I go on a date, it kind of comes back out and I'm like, fuck this. But it kind of makes sense that it's coming out because like fear tells you that something is important to you and your body's like don't fuck it up. And the other side of the coin is fear is thinking about like what could go wrong, but excitement is thinking about what could go right. And that's kind of like a good way to combat anxious thoughts. If you're on a date and you're thinking about like, oh, what if she doesn't like me, think about like what if she does. How exciting would that be? Because if you don't do anything that scares you, you're not doing anything that excites you. I'm gonna say that again. If you're not doing anything that scares you, you're not doing anything that excites you. I'm gonna say it. No, I'm not. But for real. And I think it's funny enough, Jamie Foxx, either he quoted someone and I heard that, or it's his quote. It's what's on the other side of fear is like nothing. In that sense, it's like, what if she doesn't like me? It's like, motherfucker, you gonna be all right if this girl don't like you. That's like attachment. Like I'll go on a date, I'll start texting a girl for a couple days, and I go on a date, and I'm like, she's the one. Start like texting my family, be like, add another plate at Christmas. Before I've even met the girl in person, and then so that's why I make it seem like it's make or break, but it's not, man. It's not. There's plenty of fish at a sea, man. I know when you're focused on one fish and you want it really bad, that it feels like there's only one fish in the sea. But when that one swims away, you're gonna be sad for a while. You're gonna be like, "There's no fish. Where the fish at?" And then some more fish will come in your vision, and you'll be like, "Ah, I was tripping." But that's something you kind of have to learn the hard way. And for me, it's something I have to learn over and over and over again. Maybe I won't learn it until I just finally get a girl that like I went on a date and I kind of pussied out of kissing her. And then after the date, she was like, let's just be friends. I was like, fuck. But if she wanted to call it quits on me that quickly, then we probably weren't meant to be, you know what I'm saying? And I'll also, I get so caught up in like worrying about if this girl likes me that I forget to like evaluate if I like this girl. I place a lot of value on looks. It's hard for me to get over. It's like if you're hot and we can have a conversation, like I'm pretty close to getting down on one knee. um, but what I think I'm actually looking for, and this is a tangent, but is like my best friend, man. I want someone that I enjoy talking about things with, that I enjoy watching movies with, that I enjoy like hiking, camping, skiing with, that I enjoy like talking about music with. It's more about like just someone I can have good conversations with, and also someone that can make me laugh because I like to laugh, and someone I can make laugh, but that's not really an issue. Because even on the first date, I have bitches howling. Yeah. And that was the last one on the list. Um, and I know what you're thinking. I know what you're saying. I just said I know what you're thinking, and that's a combination of saying and thinking. You're thinking, Wes, you're doing all this talk about healing. How do I heal? Um, and one caveat, I like moved. I say healing is not about like isolation, but I kind of like moved to Colorado partially to like heal. Healing isn't done in isolation, but sometimes you need a little space. Sometimes you need a little space so they can get out your face. Yeah. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Wes, you're doing all this talking about healing. How do I heal? Um, and I'm not gonna go into details on each one, but I'll do them from like hardest to easiest. One, therapy. Get your ass in therapy. Everybody needs therapy. Number two, meditation. And I'm saying that kind of like a hypocrite, a hippopotamus, because I meditated every day for a year and it was genuinely life changing. But now I'm kind of like I did it. I figured it out, which isn't true. I'm just focusing on other stuff. Journaling. If you don't got money for a therapist or you're too proud to go to a therapist, open up a piece of paper and just start writing. Write about your day. Or you can look up on Chat GBT's healing prompts. Prompts for my healing journey. Or you can like Google it. Google like shadow work. There's a lot of stuff you can do. You can do breath work. Even like telling people how you feel, being honest with those around you. If you're not doing well, talk to someone about it. Your friends should be with you through thick and thin, and if they're dodging you when you're thin, man, I hate to say it, but you gotta ask yourself, is that your friend? Is that your friend? Or they only like you when you thick? It's kind of crazy that I'm laughing like this in a room by myself, but I got my philosophans here. I got my philosophuckers here. um, yeah, there's a lot of ways to heal. Google it, look it up. And the last thing I'll say is I got some great feedback on the last episode, which really goes a long way with me. I I have a really harsh inner critic. So whenever I'm doing a podcast and I'm saying stuff, a part of me is like, stupid, that was dumb, that wasn't funny. You really thought that was funny? That's so awkward, man. You just cracked a joke that you know ain't gonna land. And so when people reach out and are like, Wes, I love what you had to say in the last podcast. And I also in the last one was talking about my sobriety, which really I had like I thought about it and I made a decision. I was like, I'm not gonna talk about my sobriety because I know people are like I know what people the stereotype of sobriety is. It's like I'm happier than I've ever been. It's like no, I went sober because I got work to do. I wish I didn't, but I got work to do. Um, And honestly, it makes me feel really good when I was worried that I was so worried about sharing a part of myself that I didn't share it and I shared it because I'm impulsive. And people were like, yo, that was awesome that you shared that. And I think what people respect is that it's genuine. It's not even what I think. I had a friend reach out and tell me it's genuine and it's like, you're practicing what you're preaching here. Like you're not just talking about healing and then going off in your life and not healing. But yeah. If you ever like I can't just in life in general, if you have something nice to say about someone, say it. Life's short. What if I die before the next time you see me? I hope that doesn't happen. It probably won't happen, but it's like the same reason why you should tell people you love them. It's like, what if you lose them and they didn't know? And like, the reason you don't say a compliment, at least for me, is like I'm nervous to say it, but like you're letting your fear get in the way of making someone else happy. Get a grip. But yeah, rate this shit 5 stars, subscribe, throw it a like, tell your friend about it. But more than anything, thank you for listening and happy holidays. I know the holidays, speaking of healing, the holidays are a tough time for people. A lot of people's family be crazy, and nobody knows how to push your buttons like your family. So if you celebrate Christmas, good luck. And if you don't, good luck. Because I don't think it's just the Christians that be getting crazy. I think it's everybody, man. But also remember, I hope you get some good gifts, and I hope you get to give some good gifts and see the joy on other people's faces. And remember that Christmas is more about being with your loved ones than the gifts. But now I'm just yapping. Thank you for listening. I love y'all. Peace.